Hey everybody, I'm going to do a quick video on the repairs I'm doing. We went from having snowbanks to no snow at all and rain for probably 24 hours. The road, every year I do road maintenance on these Class 6 camp roads. We try to just come up with ways of managing the water better. A lot of times the money ain't there to do everything you need to do, but I just want to show you some of the stuff I'm doing today, the day after the rainstorm we had here in New Hampshire. This is a road that leads into my house that I chose to cut a groove in yesterday because we were going to lose a lot more than that if I didn't, but I want to show you what we did. It's not running real impressive this morning, but this wooded area here, I believe, is probably somewhere around 20 acres. And all the water, all that snow melt that was in the wood line turned into more, water. With all the rain we've been getting. This is normally a little trickle that comes out of there. That's never running this time of year, and of course it is now. We had all the snow melt and the rain. The back side of this ditch is probably 3.5 feet deep, and it's full. There's a culvert right here that's pretty much, I believe it's an 18-inch culvert that's taken all it can take. That clogged up yesterday. I came up with the excavator and got the leaves out of it. This is just one road I'm looking at this morning. I'm not quite ready to fill that hole back in. I'm going to let this run off till this afternoon. Hopefully it will get down below. That's got to come down about another 4 inches. I just cleaned out that culvert again on both ends. This culvert here runs in an angle across to the edge of one of my lots, and then goes down through the wood line and gets to the lake down below. That's running, it's taking everything it can. It just ain't big enough, is the reality of it. But I thought I'd do a quick video on some of the stuff we're dealing with. This road here, pretty much, I'm gonna suggest putting a 24 to 36 inch culvert in. I'm gonna guess it's getting close to 30 years old, but it's a plastic culvert. I do think by looking down one end of it, when I did this other ditching over here, because it wasn't running much water, looking through it, it does look like it might be collapsed a little bit in the center. I would say there's still a 12-inch area that water is going through, and I think we'll leave that. I can't see taking that out. This is something I dug in. I just scratched that in with an excavator to give it a release, because it was starting last spring. You can see here, if you can see the rock base, it took out all the fines, but this was running across probably 20 something feet wide, going down across this guy's lawn. You can see down at the bottom of his hot top driveway, it started going across that and getting into where his driveway is. What happened this spring is it went down across here to the point where there's a culvert that goes across. You can see a little hole over there. That culvert goes underneath the hot top right there. It actually popped that culvert completely out of the ground because so much water was going down across his yard. It's still kind of going across the corner of his property, but rather than have it tear his yard out and he's paying me again to fix it, I thought it was he called me. No one seemed to have a disagreement with it. I just said I'm going to release it in the wood line. And this actually goes, there's a paper road that goes down through between these two lots. Basically a road that never got put in. That's where we're going to try to get all the water to go to. But this goes down across this property probably for 50 or 60 yards, and then it ends up in that stream. So it really isn't hurting anything. It's better to have it run in the wood line than across his grass and break that hot top off. If you look at the pins, this road should go to the right about another probably 8 to 12 feet. So my thought is where the road committee owns it, I'm gonna dig this reservoir so it's a lot bigger and can handle stuff too in the spring when the snow melts off. What's happening right now in New England is we get 4 or 5 inches of wet snow. You plow it. Like I said, a week and a half ago there was snowbanks in here. So all that melted, plus I don't know how many inches of rain we got, but it was a lot. I'm quite sure we're gonna find out today. It broke records. But this is just one thing I'm going to be working on today, and like I said, I'm not quite ready to plug that off. I'm hoping it's going to take off a little more, so that I'd like to see it stop running across before I fill it. If it's just going to be a weak point if I don't, because people are mad because you got to go around pretty good area to get around this road. It's way out of the way for me to go around this, so people want it fixed today, but I'm not going to do it and have it soft. Showing you this area, and then I just got a phone call. Another one. I'm in my loader, but I'm going to drive to it. It ain't that far away. Probably a quarter mile, I guess, if you look at it that way. So I'm just going to drive to it and check it out. I'm also going to grab a bucket of gravel to bring with me. It was running across yesterday, but it sounds like that one isn't running across, but we'll go peek at that. Another thing I want to mention too, people squawk every time you go up on the road commitment due, but the reality is that I live out here, and we got to figure this out this year because we keep having these failures. This is the third year in a row we've had some pretty good. Last winter it melted off in the middle of the winter once, where it took out what's actually the main road in here, and I've lived out here since '97 and that's never happened. We had water coming across the areas. So another thing that happens is the more stuff gets developed around us that's uphill, people hot top their driveways and everything like that, it just dries more water. And the reality is most lakefront property, what's behind it's hill. So as things get developed, you just got to come up with a better management for the water. But a lot of this problem occurred because we didn't pick up the leaves. The money wasn't there to pay somebody to come in and clean up the leaves. And I do as much as I can out here because I live out here, but I can't be running equipment for free is the reality of it. And even cleaning up the leaves is a pain in the butt. It ain't a 5-minute job. We're just going to show another section of road I'm on. This had pretty good water coming down through here yesterday. Started getting into the road. I think one thing that saved us a little bit this year is the ground still had some frost in it when this storm started. And like I said, this is an area that doesn't normally have a water issue, but the problem is it's all uphill from here. And this is like major acreage, and it's all uphill from here. But you can see the ditch line, you know, this was bulldozed in back in the 50s as camp roads, but there's a lot of standing water. I think you can see that on the camera, but I mean, there's like a little, you can see in that mountainside here that the water that's trickling down into here. Again, up on the other side of this, they're developing to do solar panel stuff, so I don't know if they've done something that disrupted or sent water another way. I think a lot of this, I think part of this development's getting some water because someone blocked off a source that used to be making their land wet. Is the reality of it. But I know up top here they did some excavation work the last 4 or 5 years, and I believe they're going to be putting like a solar panel, and they're also putting a cell tower. So they put roads in for that, which I think is giving us a little more water down here. This one here, I'm just going to bring a little gravel down. I'm going to go home and grab the tractor with the grader blade on it. See if I can't clean this ditch line up a little bit and then just smooth the road out enough. I know they don't have a lot of money right now to put into this, but I live out here, so I try to do the right thing. You can see where it went across the road right in front of me too. Didn't really dig the road out, but there's a culvert that goes from that ditch over to here, and you can see that culvert took a lot of dirt and it's just about full. So I'll take a picture of this. That culvert's just about full of gravel, I'm gonna guess. I'm probably gonna have to come down here with the excavator and see if we can't get that swept out. And so that explains right there. But that's how much stuff was moving yesterday. Even rocks that size were coming through that culvert. I'm gonna guess that's a 24-inch culvert, and it's full all but about 5 inches. All right, I guess I know what we're doing for the next few hours. The water that comes down to the inlet side of that culvert, like I said, this is a ditch line. This is water that you never see running this time of year, and it ran yesterday where it started taking the road a little bit. This is the only failure spot though, as far as getting into the road. From here up, I've done some major ditching and cleaned it up to accept more water, and it worked. I got a phone call by 2 or 3 people this morning that live out here. Said the area that we did throw money at did seem to work. But even out there, that out there was probably filled up enough yesterday to where it was running into here, so it just won't accept as much as it's getting. We got to figure out financially how to start working on the infrastructure of this development. Like look at all the fines, all of the stuff that went across this road yesterday. It's all sand. And this is someone's private property that it puked onto. So I do know the people that own this. I don't think it'll be an issue, but in certain cases, someone could probably force you to clean that up. I'm actually going to take the bucket of the loader and try to clean up some of these leaves that are mixed in, just to rather than come out. My tractor with the grader blade no longer has a bucket on it. I got the plow system on it for the winter. I just want to show to the right side here all the leaves that washed down here from all the water. There was like a river running down through. This is the bottom road, and it's all uphill from here, so everything came down around the corner and the leaves all built up. So I'm just going to try to get some of them out of the way before I'm plowing again in a few weeks. I'll take a shot from the rear on the grader blade. I'm just trying to get this so that water runs down through and gets out of here. That's all I'm going to do to this road. It's got it so when I'm plowing in a few weeks, when things do freeze back up, I just didn't want that blob of leaves that was not a flat surface. There's only so much you can do. Alright, ain't the prettiest thing in the world, and the water still wants to go across, but it's not coming in any force where it's going to dig the road out again. Next couple days is probably going to be a soft spot there, unless it freezes up good tonight. But I think they're talking warm weather for the next couple days, so but that's about all. It's better than having a 6 or 8 inch deep hole there. That freezes up, I'll be able to plow over it. I did just get together with one of the committee members, road committee members, and he agrees we're going to have to put a culvert there in the spring. So what I did today was just got the leaves out of it and got the water flowing, so it's going to end up there anyways. That's a low spot. Ain't much more you're going to do with it. I might try to come out, if I think it's going to freeze up and stay froze up, I might come down and hit it with the grader blade before it freezes up all the way. Got cold enough last night, so things froze right back up pretty good. Yesterday the bottom of this pile is like mud. For the next week it's getting below freezing at night, but in the 40s during the day, so it's just going to be a mess. But the water stopped running across the road enough this morning, so I'm going to go plug that one up and get the road open. I'm going to grab some of this dirty rock off my screener, put on the edge that washed out. We plugged that hole. I'm just going to let people drive over this today. Before it freezes up tonight, I'll come out with the grader and smooth it out, but that will let them pack it in. The culvert seems to be taking everything that's oozing out of this hillside now. That's the only stream that's really running solid still. Like I said, until springtime, 12 to 14 inch culvert in there that's running all it can run out the other side, so there's more water than this coming into this right now. It's just you can't see it because it's under the water, but there's better than 3 feet of water right here too. So, but I don't believe what they're talking pretty good weather for the next few days, other than it might get cold at night, but no more rain, no more snow. So I'm hoping this will drain down and out. We're gonna go to the next spot of the road, and I gotta clean a culvert out. We're gonna go grab the excavator, sneak it down around. These roads are saturated with water, so when they freeze up this time, it's gonna be serious. You know, it's gonna freeze solid. But I don't think that's gonna be the case. I think we're gonna, you know, Farmer's Almanac might be right this year where they're saying above average temperatures and but a lot of moisture, so that means rain. It's even difficult on a plow contractor. Last year I had a couple hot top parking lots. The bottom edge, something plugged up, and I had to get in, move the snow banks to get the stuff open back up because it had frozen. There was one storm, I got a video out that shows me I'm plowing like 8 or 10 inches of water. I'm hoping this year isn't the same, but I believe it's gonna be. Near that culvert, I'm gonna try to dig out, and I'm hoping where the water's flowing, I'm hoping the water's still flowing through it this morning because it'll be a lot easier to clean out. I believe it's only about half the culvert that's plugged. The inlet side of it looks pretty clean, so we'll find out, I guess. I just want to show little things I did last fall. Is this road washed out last spring from the massive, it was a quick melt off of the snow, and we had I want to say it was like a 3-inch rainstorm. So the material I took out of here, I screened, put all the stone back in on this corner, which seemed to work. And I left a pretty good belly here, which is half full of the fines out of what came up around the other side of the developments, all uphill from here. So what came down around. So I'm going to clean them up a little bit today with everything else I'm doing, especially behind this little wall of rock, because that does seem to work, but it's not going to work as well being full. I'm just cleaning up a couple areas to make it flow a little bit better. The furthest point off the road, yesterday this was filled with stuff and it was actually coming up into the road. Like I said, normally this time of year this stuff isn't flowing at all. These streams are dried right up. This is basically spring runoff, or if you have a rainstorm that's 2 or 3 inches of rain, these will run for a couple days. But this time of year, normally everything's bound right up. I watch guys do all this fancy work on ditch lines and stuff. It depends on what I'm getting paid. When you see me do road work, the digging around here sucks, to put it, there's no other way of saying it. If I'm getting paid hours, I'll spend time on it. Normally I'm getting paid a few $100s to get a ditch line. I would literally have to dig rocks out and like really sweep it, or sweep the rocks back into it. What I normally do is when I do a section of road, I'm getting paid to do it properly. I'll dig this out to where it's going to be easy. I'd like to get all these ditches over the next 5 years where I can just come in with the bucket of a tractor and clean them out, you know, in the fall, the leaves and stuff, rather than having it so rough. But I want to explain that in the video. When people say, oh, the ditch line, you can clean it up, you got to get paid for what you do, you know what I mean? This little bit of leaves you see here and there can really mess things up on how stuff flows. I want to take a shot too of all these trees. We've already had that wet, heavy snow that just took all these old trees and broke them off and puts them in the ditch line, because it's a hill, so they always fall down. It's not an easy task to clean this stuff up. This spring, when I do the spring cleanup out here and get going on the summer maintenance, this section of road, I'm probably gonna have to go up on that hill, you know, 20 feet in and get all this stuff that's fallen out. It's just you get the ice storms up here, and you'll notice there's a lot of white birches. The white birches just don't do well here. I'm just gonna try to fill this washout area in the road for the winter with just stuff that was here. Probably could have left this if it was closer to spring, but with winter coming, you almost know that someone that slides off the road will slide into that, and it could even be me with a plow truck, because we have ice. If you have a storm that's got a lot of ice, like the rain before the snow, this hill, I've actually had to back down this whole hill with the sander on, because if you drove down through, you're going for a ride. So I've come down over it many a times over the years, puckered right up, to put it bluntly. Hoping there was no one trying to come up or already had slid off the road. North of me, there's a couple places where they showed on the news, they showed propane tanks going down the river. The following morning, a big Mack truck, water truck, was going down through the river. So, like I said, a lot of businesses got hurt out of this. I'm going to do a little bit of a close-up. This is the culvert that we got to get unplugged. I believe once I dig this out, that I'm going to do a pretty good cavity here, that will puke itself through. Hopefully, if not, I got a special shovel that will reach up in there. But I believe that's only really packed bad 10 feet back from what I stuck a piece of PVC pipe 20-something feet long in there yesterday, and it felt like it dropped once it got in 10 or 12 feet. So we'll see if we can get this cleaned up. I want to be able to get in here to look at this without hitting those limbs all the time. Springtime, I'm gonna include this in on my price of this summer maintenance and grading the roads. I'm gonna come out here and clean up. This is something we got to address. And I also think we should, on this end of this culvert, we're gonna have to dig a pretty good retention pond right here where the stuff can come out, fall into it, and filter itself out. And we'll have to probably come in and clean that pond out once in a while. I gotta see if I can get that water to run out, because I gotta stand there to get up in there with a shovel. I think I'm pretty accurate when I say it was 10 or 12 feet back. We got that flowing. All I brought was a short shovel, that one I keep to clean up my tracks with. I gotta go get I got a special shovel for cleaning culverts out. It's like 12 feet long. I'm gonna go get that, and I believe most of the rocks are rolling out of there slowly. There's quite a few hundreds of gallons on the other end of this culvert, I think, that want to get through. So all I gotta do is loosen it up, and it seems to be puking it out. So I just back dragged it one more time. It did get run over quite a few times today. I thought it would more, but people have been going around this for a couple days, so not as much traffic as I thought. But it's packed pretty good, and it's starting to freeze. Even the water in the ditch line is starting to ice up. So it did get up to like 40 today, but it only stayed there for like an hour and a half. And right now, everything's starting to bind up again. It took a little bit. I kind of put the bucket down in there and set in the bucket and took the shovel and got it coming through. Still some fine stuff coming through, but another couple hours that should be cleaned right out. I didn't know if I was going to get to the bottom of that culvert today or not. A little bit of a workout, but I did it. So I'm happy. The other end's clear, this end's clear. And like I said, if we do get rain a week from now, it'll finish washing that pipe out, so I'm not too concerned. I just figured I'd take a shot. Just gotta clean out the ditch on the left side, get rid of some more of those leaves, and that I'm gonna fall down here. You can still see the water's trickling out of that hillside through the bank that's here. But I got together with one of the road committee guys today, and we've come to the conclusion I think we're going to be putting a ditch line here and having a culvert go across that. I just want this stuff to freeze up and be good for the winter, but I just got a feeling that ain't going to be the case this year, but we'll see. Hills behind this are getting developed for different reasons, and it's just going to keep pushing the water towards us, I believe. And that's the reality of it. You live in these developments. This one, I've lived out here since the 90s, and there's been more building going on the last 3 or 4 years than the whole time I lived out here. And every time someone hot tops a driveway, it creates we're going to have to figure out a way of dealing with the water, I guess. Little cavities that I had for the fines to go into, I'm going to clean them out just in case we do have another snowfall and melt off. I don't know how well the camera shows it, but there's another 24-inch culvert right there. This is the road off from the one I just worked on. That wasn't flowing. Now I'm going to try to get in there a couple scoops and just get that so it flows. I wish I would have seen it when I had my excavator down here. See if I can get down in there with a shovel and just clean that out. We'll see. I'm hoping it might just only be a few feet back, but anything I do is going to help. So that sure didn't hurt, put it that way. A lot better than it was. And again, if we get some a rush of water, now both sides are clean, them fines will flush right out of there. So they're already coming out pretty good just with the little flow that's there now. That's actually cleaned itself up in a matter of 5 minutes, quite a bit more. But I'm going to take a couple more scoops a little further down just to keep that flowing good, so it doesn't get backed up with sand that's coming out. A lot of people probably don't think it's a big deal to get those leaves cleaned up, but you hit those when you're plowing. Once they get wet and freeze, you'll never get the blade to go flat on the ground there all winter long. And what's happening this year is they're not freezing, but you grab a mass of that and get it mixed in with the snow. It's a heck of a thing to push up the road, so I just figured I'd do it now while I can see what I'm working on. It's going to be one of those years where there's as much mud on my plows as there is snow. Last year never froze up neither, so it's going to be interesting. I got water running across my yard out of that bank over there. There's a retention pond there, but like I said, in December I've never seen it filled and running water. I had to go clean culverts today with this, and I mean, I was in one area, I was in probably a couple feet of mud. It's just crazy. Grading the road, I had this hit, and this fitting here snaps in there. That piece of threaded, it's basically a piece of copper that threads in that fitting, broke off. I took an easy out, got it out of that box, and now we just got to try to get this piece out of there. We'll figure that out. I want to show my box of goodies here. Easy outs for exhaust manifolds and stuff on the Fords, but pretty sure this will work. Oh yeah. Bingo. Sometimes that stuff can be a pain in the butt, to put it bluntly. That's the little piece that come out. This breaks that plow if you get rough with it. It starts bouncing around. And the other day, what happened the other day, I was paying attention to my grader blade, my leg hit the thing and it went down and banged in the dirt. And because of that, Um, that's the weak point of that plow, but it doesn't do it. I did it last winter once, just because I got into the edge of a ditch line with it. Oh, look at my box of goodies. I might have something. The only chance I have is I got these little boxes I've had for years. I used to do a lot of restoration work on trucks and stuff, and these are all the fittings that the old Fords had if you had to adapt something. So keep a lot of stuff around. I had a lot of stuff. I got one here. Yeah, I believe that's what I'm looking for. It's the last one I got, so I'll have to get some. Yep, that'll work. But I've got the hardware I got in these garages. So when something breaks like that, that's when it's nice to have all that. So, all right, we'll go out. All I did was tighten that in. I'm gonna bring this out, put this in that block, and everything should plug right back in. Just like that, it's fixed. Cool. Ready for the next snowstorm. Let's see. We're gonna end this video here, fixing the roads up a little bit, plug culverts, everything that comes with this crappy weather. I think we ended up with 5 or 6 inches of rain in a matter of 2 days, and plus the little bit of snow that was in the woods. There weren't a lot out where you could see it, but in the wood line there was still some snow. I think everything just melted, and that's what caused this, you know, just all these dirts, leaves plugged everything up. I think that's the year we're gonna have. It's just been weird. I plowed snow twice to where there were snow banks, and it warmed up enough to melt it off the first time. The second time it warmed up and melted off a good part of it, there was still snow banks here and there where you put the big piles. This warm weather and rain that just came through to do this melted everything off. So between the melting snow and the water, it just made a mess of these back roads. It ain't just the back roads. You look at the news about New Hampshire. There was major roads that got washed out north of me. I am glad it stayed up there, but they had a lot more snow coverage. So between the snow and the rain melting the snow, they lost a couple bridges up there. So the damage we had here was a joke compared to what's happened. I mean, millions of dollars worth of damages happened north of me. And not that far. You're only talking 25 minutes north of me had way bigger issues than we had here. So we're blessed that way. But again, I'm going to say, if you like my content, I hope you like me taping stuff like this. This is what I do. The landscape business isn't always mowing grass and doing rock walls, stuff like that. In the winter time, I mean, pretty much I plow. And I'm going to start doing some wood projects in the garage. If we don't get snow, I'm going to have more than enough time, I think, to do it. So you'll see some other videos coming up. But I appreciate you watching, and please like and subscribe. Thanks.